Let me talk to you now about Coke's Way Forward, which is the strategy that you actually put in place. And you know, as you look at where the world is today and the move away from carbonated beverages to healthier options, and that throws up a strategic challenge for companies like yours. You said that you feel that you've been able to achieve the targets that you would have liked to at this point in time as far as your transformation plan towards creating a total beverages company is concerned. What's next now? I mean, if you've achieved some of those targets, what are you now attempting to do next?
I think it's really about continuing the journey. I mean, we've made a good amount of progress as a company in expanding the portfolio. We've made the statement that, you know, whilst we've moved from maybe 90 years of history where Coke was the only brand we sold, to a few decades where it was mainly sparkling, to now a decade where it's sparkling and other categories. So this is about the journey of really building out the rest of the categories going forward. So that's what you're going to see. Sparkling continue to grow its revenue globally, yet the other categories growing faster. With Coke remaining the heart and soul as a brand, yet the company becoming much bigger and being about a full portfolio of categories.
You know, the big challenge, of course, is the reduction as far as sugar is concerned. And I know that you've committed to cutting sugar across 500 brands in 2017. There's government regulation around the world that forces you to do that as well. Much more needed in terms of innovation, R&D, for you to be able to just make the sparkling side a lot more healthier.
Yeah, look, we're committed to being part of the solution in helping bring down the overconsumption where it is. We've signed up to the World Health Organization mandate and targets and objective, and we're doing that in a way through three very concrete things about our products, apart from the way we market and provide information, which is smaller packages in some places, including innovative small packages we've launched in India, reformulation of products, and innovation in products with less sugar. So it's about, as we build out the portfolio, re-engineering part of it within that process to allow us to help manage the overconsumption of sugar where countries have issues and be part of the solution. And I think it's possible, and we're seeing that actually we'll be able to grow the business in the long term, yet see the total amount of sugar go down.
So as you look at the world today, you know, the hope is that India will move into your top 5 markets. It's currently just outside of that at number 6. How confident, A, do you feel about India being able to move into the top 5? How soon? And also, as you look at the world today, whether it's Latin America, it's ASEAN, you know, some parts of North America, where would you be most concerned about?
Yeah, look, I'm very positive on the business in India. As you say, it's number 6 at the moment. I think shortly they'll make the breakthrough to be number 5. But I think that is itself just a step to being in the top 3. I mean, India is a huge continent on its own. It's a vibrant society and a vibrant economy. And I think in the end, the objective isn't just about being number 5, even though that's the most immediate milestone. It's about being one of the top 3 markets, and that's why we're optimistic and investing in the marketplace in India. And
so top 5 by when and top 3 by when?
We're still discussing with local management exactly when top 5 is, but we're all confident that we're going to get there, and I think it'll be in the foreseeable future.
So what do you see as the big challenges outside of regulation and the need to bring down sugar consumption? What do you see as the other big challenges that you face today?
I think we face a number of challenges. There are certainly some world economy challenges out there. It's clearly the environment makes a difference to us, and you know, there are parts of the world where there are complications and where we've been struggling because frankly the macroeconomics have been very complicated. But in the end, you know, we spend most of our time thinking about the things that we can worry about because we can control what the outcomes are and the things that we can dedicate our time to. So in the end, what I worry about is, you know, okay, if we want to make all this innovation happen, if we want to expand all these categories, what's going to get it done? And in the end, that comes down to people remaining curious about what the consumer wants and how retailers create value, and being entrepreneurial enough to go out and make it happen. There's no way that everything can be done around the world by decisions from the head office. So I need to find local managers and local teams who remain curious about what's going on and what's possible, and entrepreneurial enough to seize the moment and go and get it. Those are the things that I chase.
So this is part of your new operating model, which ensures that the local leadership is empowered to take the decisions that need to be taken as far as growth for that particular market is concerned. So leaner, agile, but also more empowered.
Absolutely. We've taken the difficult decision to reduce some of the resources at the head office and push them down into the field because it is about maintaining entrepreneurship. The great danger of being a big company is you end up too bureaucratic. So we are trying to really reinforce the agility, the entrepreneurship, and making it happen in the local markets.
Is the restructuring now pretty much done, whether it's people or on the bottling franchises? Is that effort and that exercise over and done with?
Yeah, at the head office, the exercise is largely coming to an end now. Of course, on an ongoing basis, we'll continue to adapt as technology allows us to do things in different ways and we make different choices for resource decisions, but the majority is done at the head office. In terms of the refranchising, I think that's going to basically come to an end by 2017 in its large majority because we've done the big pieces. But the refranchising is not just about us buying and selling bottling operations. It's about how do we use these transactions to make a stronger business for the future. We did a transaction in Europe where we sold our German business to merge with the Spanish and the French and the British business to make a stronger business. And actually you can see that in the results. Since that new bottling operation started, it's been growing faster. Similarly in the US, we've been refranchising, and as we've done so, the last few years of results in the US have been the best they've been for a decade. So it's all about how does the refranchising serve making a faster growing business. At the moment in India, where we still own the majority of the bottling operations, we're very happy with our investment. We're going to continue investing. We don't see a plan at this stage to do something different. But if we did, the first question would be, how's this going to help us grow faster? And that'll always be the starting point.
But that's not on the cards at this point in time.
On the cards.
You know, one of the other things that you've spoken about as part of this transformation plan is digitizing the enterprise. Do you see a role for Indian IT at all as far as that plan is concerned?
We use a lot of IT services from India already, either directly ourselves in some of our own shared service centers or through IT partners that we use. All of this is part of the great digitization of our enterprise and many others out there. But I think it's going to fundamentally change not just the way companies operate, but our retail partners will become different people and they'll operate differently. So I think this is going to be a long-term fundamental restructuring of the way work happens and the way businesses operate and the way we engage with consumers. I
want to talk to you about some of the challenges that we're seeing when it comes to how brands must engage with consumers. And I know that you've said that brands must take a stand, and you decided to take one, whether it's on the Trump ban or it's on climate change, for instance. You've also had to face the backlash, perhaps, of some of those decisions that you've taken as a CEO, but you believe that that is important, even though it may, to some extent, risk the brand.
Yeah, I think where I start from is a brand and a company needs to stand for something. You know, I really believe in the value of consistency and coherence. If a brand stands for something, you can't start taking actions, even if they're expedient and useful in the short term, because you will ultimately erode the value of the brand for the long term. So the way we look at it is we have a brand, we have a company that stands for something, for instance, inclusiveness, and therefore we need to take actions to support that, excuse me, even if in the short term there are some bumps in the road.
How do you see the brand changing? And there's a lot of debate and discussion on how millennials engage with brands in an era of social media and instant gratification. You know, how do you see the brand evolving, given the 130-year legacy that you carry, but how do you take that forward to engage with this new customer?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really changing about millennials is the way they engage with things, the mediums they go through, whether it be social media or the smartphone. It's really a fundamental change in the way they engage. Some of the true underlying core values that they believe in remain the same. I mean, they want to engage with brands that are authentic. The way they want to engage is completely different. You know, Coke has been successful as a brand, for example, by staying relevant to every generation of consumers, and every generation was different. The first few generations of consumers only ever saw print advertising. The next generation saw radio. The next generation saw TV. This generation is going to be through social media, but they all want to connect with something that's authentic and relevant for them. And that's the absolute critical job for our people, is to stay curious enough about what are those people interested in, how are they engaging, so that we can stay relevant to them.
So to stay relevant as well as create the kind of curiosity that you hope you will be able to create, how much money are you going to be spending on advertising and marketing, especially to send out the message of what you've been able to do in terms of bringing down sugar, etc.?
Well, we spend billions of dollars a year around the world on marketing, and we'll continue to do that. And when the budgets have been increasing each year consistently, I think the key is finding those vehicles of media that engage in a way in which consumers want to engage.
So as a CEO today, what frustrates you about the world that we live in, and what gives you hope?
I think if one wanted to see the glass half empty, you could go around and find lots of things to be frustrated about. But I think that actually in the end, the role of the CEO is to really shine the light on the opportunities and the things that are reasons to believe it can be a better world and it can be a better business.
Tempted to move out of beverages and look at something else?
I use an anecdote which I'm not even sure is completely true, but I use it, which is, you know the Bond movie, Never Say Never Again? They say that the reason that that was the title of the movie was the previous movie, Sean Connery said, I'm never making another Bond movie. And then he did.
So you're leaving the window open?
So I leave the window open a little bit, even though the most likely thing is that we'll be in beverages, and they will continue to be the most interesting opportunities for some while to come. But like the Bond movie, never say never.
So how much appetite do you really have? You said the window is a little bit open. How much appetite do you really have? Because your competitor has gone all the way.
I'm an engineer at heart, so I like to see the data. I like to see the idea and the concept of why this is going to work. And the reality is, it's much easier to make the case for the next set of beverage categories than it is for something completely different. So I think that what we'll continue to see happening for the foreseeable future is investments in beverages, and that's the thing that we passionately know well, and that's where I think we'll be focused. But it's kind of a philosophical principle. Never say never. Never
say never. James, appreciate you joining us on CNBC-TV18. Thanks very much for your time. We wish you all the very best here in India, and we hope you have a good trip.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Well, with that, it is time for us to say goodbye on the CNBC-TV18 special from all of us here. Goodbye, and many thanks for watching.